Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome to my gorgeous Capricorns. This is a special reading for you. We are doing a series on soulmate unions. I just feel like there's a lot of unions that are going to happen by, let's just say, the end of 2025. So, in this reading, we are asking um, six very specific questions to our spirit guides. I've been using this format for a little while now, and I'm loving it because I feel like the answers are so clear. So this is for those who, you know, you would invite love into your life, let's say. Um, you know, um, and I feel like just stay open because I feel like it's going to happen in different ways for different people. But just stay open, especially as it relates to soulmate. Again, I'm not looking for, someone you're going to date for 2 weeks and then that's over. I'm looking for your partner, your life partner from this day forward. And it can be someone of a past life, someone that you already know in this life, whatever it may be. We're going to stay open, and I'm going to ask you just to trust your guides, who we read through. So let's go ahead and open up the reading. And I'm going to use a few different decks here. I'm going to use Mother Mary. She will open up the reading for us. One of the questions has to do with the major arcana. So let me tell you what the questions are real quick. And while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and pre-shuffle. Well, they're already shuffled. I'm going to give them each deck a shuffle. So number one, your soulmate's subconscious thoughts about you right now. I say subconscious because for some of you, um, you may have no clue this is coming your way. And what I've been finding is that heart chakras are being activated on purpose, getting people ready, getting people ready. And for your questions, I am going to use the Universal Tarot to answer them. And we're going to use the Crystal Vision below. Okay, I just want to, oh wow. I just want to look at this real quick because that's interesting. Four cards didn't want to pick up. We have the Strength card, card of Leo, the King of Pentacles, certainly can be you. We have the Ten of Wands, and then we have the Soulmates. So for some reason, I'm feeling like this King has been, let's just say, overcoming. I feel like there's something this King has had to have realization over. Something that is getting in his or her way. But I feel like this person has complete control over this. And when I mean complete control, I mean that they can change their situation. The Ten of Wands, I feel like, well, subconsciously, I'm wishing for a tower. It's like trying to push that boulder up a hill. Can speak about a period of time of a lot of responsibilities, but there's something that I'm feeling with this King, this internal, I want to say battle, but I don't, it may feel like a battle. And if you look at the Strength card, you can see the infinity number right above her head. As above, so below. No beginning, no end. So interesting. But I also love that the soulmates wanted to come out. All right. Let's give them another shuffle. So, even if we don't get the soulmate card, we got it. All right. And then we will be using the light seers above. So the crystal vision below, the light seers above, and the tarot, or I'm sorry, the universal tarot, um, to answer the main questions. All right. I hate to take this time up, but I know a lot of people, I know you like seeing the cards shuffled. Let's go ahead and get this deck ready too. Way we can just move right into it. So, soulmate love for my Capricorns. By the way, Capricorn, sun, moon, rising. Some of you may have just found yourself here and you don't know if you have Capricorn in your chart or not. That's how your guides work. They'll put something in front of you. Matter of fact, that's how I talk to my guides. Like, if I'm searching for an answer, I'll ask them to put it in front of me. Like, so I can't deny that this is their sign. So feel free, definitely, especially in a reading. You want to trust your own intuition. Um, but know that your spirit guides are here to help guide you. They cannot interrupt your free will, though. Keep that in mind. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to bring the lid down. We're going to start with Mother Mary. Mother Mary. One of my favorite messages. Watched over. Watched over. I allow myself to feel safe and enjoy my life, knowing that heaven is watching over my loved ones and me. Like just allowing yourself to enjoy, knowing that you're being watched over. This is always the case. It's not a one-time thing. Matter of fact, before you even came into this lifetime, you had a whole spiritual team, or you have a whole spiritual team that was assigned to just you. So, you can ask for their name, you can give them a name. They don't care. They don't care. They're just like, we're here to love. We're here for love. All right. So being watched over, love it. And to me that means that the soulmates are being watched over. Okay. I had to get that final drink of coffee. And let's go ahead and begin. So just clear your energy. All right. Your soulmate's subconscious thoughts about you right now. Five of Swords. Interesting. Okay. Here's a five. Five is always about change. We have the Queen of Swords. Can be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Doesn't have to be. It's interesting because when I see this queen, her sword is down. She's thinking about the future. But she seems very calm and relaxed in the present moment. A sword being down means her defenses are down. Like she's not in a defensive mode. So it's interesting that the Five of Swords comes out because this can talk about bad communication. It really stands for toxicity. And then we have the Page of Wands, my risk taker. It's interesting because the person in the Five of Swords is looking back, but the Queen is looking forward. So she's looking towards the future. This Five of Swords definitely has already taken place. This is of the past. So they may be hanging on to something. And it's interesting because I feel more of you are the Queen of Swords. And I know you're Earth, I know that. But I feel like we're a little bit of everything. I feel like this queen is thinking about taking a chance. Um, and when I say a chance, I feel like this queen is really thinking, but without fear, about what it is I want to do next. You know, the Page of Wands puts passion in the atmosphere. And I don't feel the sense of urgency. I feel more it's like, what is it that I want to do? So it's interesting that the Five of Swords comes out as their thoughts. But again, this is of the past. All right, well, let's just flip that question around. And now we want to know your subconscious or conscious thoughts of them right now. We have the Page of Pentacles. We have 2 pages already. We have the Four of Swords, beautiful, healing. And beautiful, the Six of Swords. So this is moving away from that toxicity. Some of you may know who this person is. And there could have been a past, let's just say, relationship where it did become, let's just say, toxic. I definitely feel like it's coming through the swords energy. So, I think a communication. But here's the thing, this person's moving on from that energy. Not only are they moving on, but the healing process, and this is you, is also taking place. And I feel like how you're looking at, let's just say, life or love is through the Page of Pentacles. So, what have I been learning? The one thing you've been learning is not to stay in toxic energy, to know when it's time to move. You know what I mean? Like, I've given it my all. That's all I can do. I cannot control another, but I can control myself. And I love the Four of Swords because that tells me whatever existed in that Five of Swords has the opportunity to heal. And when I do soulmate readings, I often think of past life readings. Matter of fact, once I'm through, I'm going to go around the zodiac wheel, and then I am going to do past life reading because these readings are definitely calling for one. So this moving on is really, I feel, what ushers in this healing energy. And I feel like you're looking at, well, let's just say life differently now. Like the things that you've been through, where maybe before you would have been like, woe is me. Now you're saying, okay, but look what I have learned. Look how much stronger I am because of. I feel like it takes guts to move into the Six of Swords energy, that moving on. It does take guts. But I love the Page of Wands right next to it because I feel like, again, this queen is moving towards her passion, whatever it may be. And I don't feel like she has like a fixed idea of what it must be. I feel like she's open. She's sitting at the water's edge. Some of you, even though she's swords, water could be a real healer for you. Let's say you don't live by a body of water. Taking showers, actually, I feel like taking a bath like spending some time, like I feel like light some candles, turn on some music, and just take a nice long bath. Interesting. Now we do have two pages. Page of Wands um, can be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We saw Leo. Page of Pentacles, definitely feel like it is you. But can be Virgo, um, Taurus. But I really feel like it's how you're looking at things now. And I feel very good about this because I feel like you've learned a lot. You've grown a lot. And I feel like you're much more mellow. Hmm. All right, let's keep going. So, number three, 2025's potential of these soulmates meeting, coming together. We have the High Priestess, it's your intuition. Hmm. Eight of Swords, and the Moon. The Moon, card of Pisces, ruler of Cancer. You know, this is interesting because I feel like the reason why the Moon is here, I feel, is because of the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is a self created prison. This is feeling trapped, but you're really not. And that's why the High Priestess comes in between it. Like, trust your intuition, not your fear based mind. In this healing process, I feel like it is to allow yourself to break free. Any limited thoughts, like this is almost saying, like, I don't expect love. I didn't expect love, but yet it showed. You know what I mean? You just never know. And I feel like when this person realizes that, what they're doing is creating freedom for themselves. And I feel like the fear comes from the uncertainty. So you're really being guided to listen to your intuition. There's got to be a reason. And by the way, I did bring out the Gilded Tarot also because I may come back and look a little deeper at a few of these. This is interesting because, part of me is feeling it's not you in the Eight of Swords. It could be. I think what I would ask yourself is, are you fearful of falling in love? Are you fearful of giving love a chance, let's say, even if you don't know where it's going to go? And again, this reading, I want to make it clear. I'm not asking our guides for like someone that you're just going to date for a little while. I'm asking about your ultimate partner. So trusting your intuition is going to be key, especially if you feel that you're in that Eight of Swords. And remember, what's the word I want to use? Oh, what's the word I want to use? That's our free will. This is free will energy. This is someone who created walls, right? Trying to protect oneself. And even if you look at this image, it is like the higher self is looking at the earthly self. Like, come on, we've done this before. We've been here before. There's nothing we can't overcome. This person knows that. That's why they're so loosely bound. They just have to trust that. You know, 8 is about a new beginning. And I think sometimes we have to be comfortable in the fact that we don't know, like, okay, so this connection comes together because we already saw the soulmates. How do I know it's going to last forever? Well, you don't. And the reason why is because each moment you're making decisions. Each moment is really determining like your future steps or your future harvest, so to speak. If I'm in the 8 of Swords, I'm kind of blocking that and kind of just stuck. But I can break myself free. And I feel like what it's saying is just trust your intuition. Watched over. You're being guided. Even the healing process. I feel like we may have two soulmates who may be in two different places right now. And I mean, like, with their thoughts. I feel like you have grown. I feel like you're at the point where your self-respect is strong. But but I also want to say, but leave yourself room for the unexpected because that is how love happens. This 5 of Swords and this 8 of Swords definitely relating to each other. But there's one of the soulmates who was able to let it go. Matter of fact, not only let it go, but learn from it. And this 5 of Swords may have nothing to do with you. It may have more to do with this person has been surrounded by. And you may have also, I often find that with soulmates, they have similar experiences. And I feel like it's at least one of the soulmates, I feel like has cleared the energy of the past. So it's almost like taking on the Fool's energy, which is really the best energy you want to take on here. All right, let's keep going. Did we love here or in a past life or both? The Empress. Beautiful. The mother figure. 6 of Cups. So you have been together before. And then the 9 of Pentacles. Interesting. Okay. This is what I'm feeling. I feel like I'm feeling two, like one soulmate is still in the thick of things, like still trying to break themselves free, trying to find that courage. I feel like, it's interesting because that 5 of Swords didn't feel like you. And now I get it. It isn't you. It's someone else that they were dealing with. And I'm not going to say like they're all innocent, but what I'm saying is they felt stuck within their situation. But they're also being called to use their intuition. I don't feel like this person has bad thoughts about you. It's the opposite. Just seeing the Empress also, right? The nurturer, loving, intuitive, very intuitive. This is someone who recognizes signs almost instantly. Why? Because she's worked at it. She's learned that, yes, I am being guided. So, very loving, very nurturing, but also very powerful and strong. And what I love is the Nine of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles right below her. Independent. Someone who can take care of oneself. This really is about seeing the fruits of your labor. And when I say independent, I don't mean like independent where I just want to be alone. Maybe for a while. Like I could see the Empress creating this Nine of Pentacles, no problem. But then the Six of Cups. So I do read nines as singular. So I feel like the Empress is single. Even if she is a mother, she may be single here. Mother or father. But then we have the Six of Cups. So, and I'm looking at, have you loved in this lifetime or a past lifetime? Well, the Six of Cups would bring up nostalgia, treasured memories. Interesting how if you look at this image, you can see like the little boy to the man. And the spirit guide has always been by his side. All right, well, let's keep going. So, divine's energy in supporting this union. Eight of Swords, interesting. The Magician, the Manifester, and the Four of Cups. That makes sense to me. Four of Cups is discontentment or boredom in one's emotional world. The meaning of this card is learning to use your spiritual discernment. It is mirroring the Magician. And in the Four of Cups, there is a cup coming in. It's a bummer you can't really see it here, but a lot of times that cup is coming down like from the hand of divine. Well, that's what soulmates, like soulmates, you know each other, whether you come together in a lifetime or not, you're always like your soul connected, always. So it's like this discontentment and boredom in an emotional situation, love. But then the magician's energy, the ability to manifest. But then it's met by the Eight of Swords. So we have to go back. The Eight of Swords. And even the Eight of Swords is mirroring the Five of Swords right now. So you can see how that Eight of Swords is kind of coming in between what can be or what won't be. It's like someone needs to break themselves free from the fear of loving again, if that's what you want. I want to make that clear, if that's what you want. But if it's not what you want, I'm not sure why you're here. um, but the beautiful magician, the energy, and he's pouring these loving waters down. Can you break yourself free? Can they break themselves free? And again, I'm not really feeling like it's you, unless it's the other way around. You know what I mean? Like you may have this fear, where they have been clearing energy. Even the moon, right? The moon reminds me of like letting go, releasing what was, what's no longer serving me, and opening myself up to the new. Remember also the moon has the potential of being very dreamy like energy. Okay, let's go ahead and bring out the major arcana or the major arcanas that are supporting the two of you. And I am going to shuffle for these. And I think I am going to look at a few cards. The Death card. Interesting. Card of Scorpio. And it's interesting because when I do Scorpio's reading, you're always in it. When I do your reading, Scorpio is always in it. Now, it doesn't have to mean this is a Scorpio. Um, this is about something that has come to completion, let's say. But this is really about a rebirth. Like the Death card, we should never fear. It's really the promise of something new opening up. But a door may need to close first. Look at that. And then the Fool. Beautiful. So it's like I'm accepting this rebirth. The Fool is put the past behind them, right? Extracted the wisdom, but ready for whatever this next adventure may be. This is someone who's trusting in their spiritual team to help guide them. And that's exactly what happens in the Fool's energy. Matter of fact, one of the Fool's greatest mentors along this new journey is the Magician. And the Magician teaches the Fool that you possess everything you need to be successful. It may mean just merely taking that step. See if we can get one more. All right, well, two. Look at this. The world. The world, the next chapter. Interesting, we also have the Magician, which is what 2026 will be represented by. The Magician. But listen, I'm not looking for 2026 love. I'm looking for 2025. And our guides know that. So it's interesting that the Death card and the World card are mirroring each other because they both speak about completion. I feel the world's energy is our most spiritual time. This may be where spirit surprises you like you never thought possible. It is a completion, but listen, the completion is with that Five of Swords. The completion is with that Eight of Swords. And then with that, we have justice. So I feel like someone used the sword of justice. And I don't feel like it's the queen because her sword is down. And this is them, the Queen of Swords, this is them looking at you. It's almost like, I get this feeling that if I do know who this person is, and I am truly interested, then it's time for me to take action. And that doesn't mean like making a commitment. You know what I mean? It just means stepping into it. What am I holding? Justice. So I feel like this sword of justice is within the thought system. Or if someone thought they were stuck, they're freeing themselves. When justice shows up, it is about balance. It is about making you whole again. Interesting when we talk about soulmates, making you two of you whole again. So now we have the world mirroring the Page of Wands, who I call my Fool, with the Fool right above the world. We have the Fool mirroring the Five of Swords. That's great news because that's exactly what I feel is happening. Like someone had, and again, that strength card we saw in the beginning that was connected to the soulmates. That's what I had to look at. Right. And listen, it can be other people, like other people's opinions and what have you. And maybe you took them on or they took them on, almost like self-limiting beliefs. But it feels like someone else placed that in my mind. And I don't know why. I don't feel like it's you. I feel like it's them. And I know that confuses some people. This is why I want you to always trust your own intuition. So this Eight of Swords, right? When this person breaks themselves free, it's freedom. So it makes sense that the Fool would follow that. Again, it's not that I don't remember the past, but it's about learning and growing from it. Let's put it this way. Not all love is going to work out. Some love has a completion date, an expiration date. This love, I don't feel like it does. I feel like it's the opposite. That's why the world is showing. So I feel like right now in this reading, the main issue would be one. Listen, I feel like you both had to go through something and you both had to break yourselves free. I definitely I feel you have. Or again, it's the other way around. And I definitely feel like someone is looking at the past now with a different lens. Like, look at how much I have grown because of. Look at what I have learned because of. You know, in love, it's important also to learn what we don't want. And sometimes the only way to learn that is to go through it. All right, let's look at the bottom of the decks. We have the King of Swords. Interesting because we have the Queen of Swords right there. Beautiful. Three of Wands. Beautiful. I'll tell you why in a second. Number one is mirroring the Fool. And then, nice, the Eight of Cups. There's that emotional clarity. It's interesting because I feel like one of the soulmates has been busy creating, making like a life for oneself, like your creativity, your money, your career. I feel like there's been a lot of focus on that. And I feel that success will follow if it hasn't already. Like, I definitely feel that you're going to see the fruits of your labor. Now, as it relates to love, where we had that Eight of Swords, I feel like this is breaking free from that. This is finding that emotional clarity. And not every cup needs to be examined. Just enough. Right? This person's heading towards the Nine of Cups, inner fulfillment. Wow. Let me tell you, if you really want true love, you having inner fulfillment first and foremost is so important. Now, I do feel like it's them, but I feel like this helps all of us. And remember that eight is about a new beginning, and it's mirroring the death card, right? Closing of chapter. And there may have been some resistance, but I feel like it's more The resistance isn't like I want to stay. The resistance is I want something different. But I have to find the courage within myself to make those steps, right? To break myself free. Yeah. And I feel like, the Empress isn't, she may be a single mom. So her concentration may be on her money more than anything. And again, I feel like the ability of being like really successful. And, keep in mind that the Empress is loving and nurturing. Like I feel like there's no one better to be in love with than the Emperor or the Empress. And I'm not talking about any signs, I'm talking about their energy. Natural leaders. Why? How? Because I've been there. I know the shoes that you're walking. I've walked those same shoes. So the spiritual wisdom that I feel like you're gaining is tremendous, like leaps and bounds. But I feel like we have to know, when something is over, and we know it's over. But here's the thing, I'm not really feeling like resistance of trying to talk someone into being with me. I feel like the resistance is our other soulmate needing to free themselves from their circumstances. Or again, it's you wanting to free yourself so that you can get on to like real loving, real living. I do feel like it's important for you also to have someone who, let's just say, financially can take care of themselves. Not that I don't feel like you would help, you would. But this is about more like what can we do together? All right. Um, I want to look at a couple things. So we're going to use the Gilded Tarot. And what do I want to look at? Well, let's start at the first line. So your soulmate subconscious thoughts about you. And why the Five of Swords? Why the Five of Swords? Tell us more about that. The Five of Swords, why? Well, it's funny because I feel like I don't even need cards for that. Um, Again, I don't feel like this is relating to you. I feel like this is relating to other people that they have found themselves surrounded by. And I don't feel like they want to stay in that situation at all. But I feel like, again, there's a lot of free will here, right? I can't make someone do what they don't want to do. I can try. All right. We have the King of Wands. Look at this, the Six of Cups again. And then beautiful Temperance. So Temperance comes with a couple different messages. The first message is patience. It's interesting because I love the Temperance showed up because I feel like even though you can't really see it in this image, you normally will see Temperance with two cups in her hands and she's making sure This is the way I feel anyway. She's making sure that both cups are equally filled. And that's what divine timing is about. It's not to like make you wait. It's so that things are fair and just for you. Again, remember, justice is about making you whole again. And I'm not saying that you need this other person to be whole, but it just makes you feel that way. So I love that temperance is here. And let me tell you, sometimes I feel like temperance protects us, right? Because if this person is dealing with some type of toxic energy right now, and it's really up to them to break, to make that decision. I'm either going to break myself free or I'm not. Well, temperance would be like, okay, well, that would not be your divine timing, right? They need to take on the fool's energy again, or it's you. King of Wands to me is a king of action. This is a king that moves according to one's passions, but is definitely action oriented. And coming over that 5, I feel like that's exactly what it's asking for, action, right? Letting those swords go. Sometimes even looking at the source, like, why am I taking on other people's limited beliefs about me? Can even go back to like things that dear old mom used to say or dear old dad that really got me right in that inner child. But I love the divine is definitely doing her job, connecting, right? And the 6 of Cups connected to that. It's almost like temperance is saying, if you are in the Empress's energy, it would only make sense that the person coming towards you would also be of that energy. All right. So since we got the 6 of Cups, let's go ahead and look at the line of the 6 of Cups, which is question, did we love here or a past life before? So we definitely know the answer is yes. But what else can we know? It's interesting. Something told me add up the numbers 6 and 3, 9. And then we have a 9 here. 18, 8 plus 1, 9. I feel like someone has been reflecting. Let's just put it this way. I feel like the Empress, as it relates to her money, and I'm not saying that she's rich or even that she can pay every bill every month, but she's still taking care of herself. All right. But anyway, so that was interesting. Nines, really 3 9s. And, nines are about final reflection. Okay. Hello, beautiful Knight of Pentacles, my guardian angel. What I love about this energy is this tells you that this blessing that the Knight of Pentacles carries, and it is the pentacle, that means that something is coming into your physical world. It's tangible. It's probably kissable. But this Knight tells you, I come at the right time, not before, not after. That's exactly what I was feeling. Like where temperance was protecting you, or the other person, the Knight of Pentacles. Now it's like, okay, this energy has been cleared. That makes it the perfect timing. Look at this, the Empress. Well, hello, like-minded energy. Hello, like-minded energy. Queen of Swords. Look at this, the Four of Wands. Well, there is our commitment. And then the Six of Swords. Okay, so I just feel like the other person is just catching up. You know, male or female, I feel like the Empress is both. Sometimes we need to be in our masculine energy. Sometimes we need to be in our feminine energy. But it feels like what this is calling for is feminine energy. And that just means, having your heart open. And I love that it is the Knight of Pentacles that's ushering this in. I mean, it's the vehicle that it's coming in. Temperance is really let's just say divine, is what's ushering this in. And it makes so much sense that the Six of Swords now be here. Because we already have the Six of Swords here. So I know one of the soulmates has had plenty of reflection. They're looking at life more in what has it taught me? What have I learned? Look at who I am today because of it, like being proud of oneself. And this other, your soulmate, it just feels like now we're on the same page. Now, when will this be? This is interesting because there's a lot of free will here. But again, I am only asking for 2025. That's what I want to know. Someone may be speaking their final piece to someone. Like, I'm out of here. Adios. But if that's the case, I also feel you're feeling this guidance. Or they're feeling this guidance. And I know I'm going back and forth, but I'm kind of feeling like some of you are in that Five of Swords, and others, it's your soulmate. So I feel like this is why you need to trust your intuition. But here's the thing, ultimately, both are coming to the same type of energy. The Empress, she cares about her fellow man and woman. This is someone who wants to help, has that nurturing energy about her. But she's very, very powerful. Why? Because she trusts her intuition above all. And by the way, intuition is right below that. It is her guide. It's reminding me of using the night sky as your map. But I love also that the Four of Wands came out. That is a true commitment. It is the marriage card. It is the marriage card. But let's take marriage off the table for a moment, because for some, that word may be scary. Let's just say it has the potential here of, I feel like once this connects, I don't feel like it ever disconnects. So let's put it that way. I love that the Knight of Pentacles just showed up. And I love that the Knight of Pentacles, it's a very clear message to me. Like, there is no sense of ushering this soulmate in while they're still dealing with some energy that it's like their life lesson. It wouldn't do us, it wouldn't serve them for us to go in and try to fix it. It's something that they have to have the realization and then the guts to move forward, to end what needs ended. And they would have to know because of the energy that surrounds them. I feel like they're in a very stressful type of situation. Okay, let's pick this up. And hmm, I don't even know what I want to look at. Oh, something I forgot to talk about. We have the Three of Wands on the bottom of this deck. This is why I feel like your soulmate is going to free themselves, because the Three of Wands is about in living in the present moment. It's also the energy of optimism. It's the opposite of what I feel like this person had been feeling. So listen, they may have someone around them that just makes them feel less than. So they must come to that realization. Not only do they come to that realization, I feel like they make the movement out of it. So jumping into the fool's energy, but with optimism. Look at that, the Ten of Cups below it. Like, I don't want any old love. I want love that's going to last a lifetime. Now, as I say that, I want you to remember this is not about, you know, like when you're looking at this, it's not about the final outcome. Because again, we're creating it as we go, especially with the magician right there. And the magician right next to the death card, it's like we have to know when things have come to completion, or it better serves us. And, I feel like in the beginning of our lives, especially as it relates to love, it's harder to like say to oneself, okay, this is done, there's nothing left, right? Sometimes we become so comfortable in the uncomfortableness that we don't make changes. But this is someone who I definitely feel they are looking for true love. They ultimately are looking for the Ten of Cups. All right. Um, I don't really have any other cards I want to look at, so I'm just gonna take some cards right down the middle. Two of Wands. Well, that is taking a step towards whatever you're passionate about. This is not a fear-based energy. And this makes sense because this is what I've been talking about. Like just merely stepping into it, just allowing things to happen naturally. Soulmate love doesn't need forced. Matter of fact, I feel like you should enjoy every moment of it. But to me, it is kind of like my yes card. Depending on which side you're on, I feel like there's nothing I can do about this person's situation, but there's nothing I'm meant to do. This is theirs to deal with. And by me stepping in, all I would do is take away a life lesson, which means that they would have to repeat it somewhere along the line. Well, I don't want them to repeat it with me. So that's why I feel like the Knight of Pentacles also came out like the right time. I feel like the Empress has definitely lived life. And I even love that we had two Empresses because even though it wasn't the emperor, which really doesn't matter. I kind of love the two empresses better. Very creative. Both of them listening to their intuition. To me, if both are in their empress's energy, I feel like you'll be able to pick up the fact that you've lived past lives together. And I'm talking about love. You could have lived past lives where you didn't come together. That wasn't that plan in that lifetime. This lifetime, it feels like it is the plan. So, both of them having the ability to, not only the ability, but the wanting to help. And maybe that's why I said be careful. Like, don't try to fix other people's problems where you know it's their problem. You know what I mean? Like, let's let them figure this out. We have the Page of Cups. That's the inner child. And then look at this Judgment. Well, this is your spiritual team, and they're calling you to the present moment. Now, that's a bit of a clue. Judgment tells you there's about to be a rebirth. If you allow. Three of Wands, I'm allowing. The Empress, I'm allowing. The Fool, I'm allowing. The only place I'm not is in the Eight of Swords. Everywhere else, I'm allowing. I also feel like this is saying that this love is going to feel very playful. I feel like this love, it's going to reach your inner child. And not all love does. There's different levels to love. Here, I feel like this is about reaching that inner child. That means it's going to be playful. That means there's going to be loving and laughing, all that. Just so happens Judgment's coming right over the Empress also. So I feel like for you, what this is saying is it's like there is this real opportunity of this love coming together as long as this person frees their thoughts and knows that it's okay to move forward. Got to put the walls down, right? But merely just take a step in. So anyone who's afraid, because here's the thing, you can always change your course. You can always change your path. But you're being guided. And I know this sword, this person eventually uses, and that sets them free. And that's why Judgment, I know, is coming over the Empress, and we saw two Empresses. Let me say, I feel like, it's interesting because the trumpet is being blown down at the Nine of Swords over the Empress, but I feel like this is definitely, this is not a money reading, but can I just say, I feel like your money, if you're focusing on it, whatever you focus on is what you're going to grow. If I focus on the fear, I'm going to grow the fear. If I'm focusing on optimism, it's saying I expect good things to happen, and they do. Or I can expect bad things to happen, and they do. The magician's just like, what do you want? This cup coming in. It's interesting because I feel like Judgment is speaking more to them, but probably to both of you. Like, this is the time. And let me tell you, I feel like I feel like if I can just allow myself to feel without fear, then I'm going to know. I'm just going to know this is my person. Like, this is my person. And with the world here, number one, it's a very spiritual time. Wow. If you're trusting divine and you trust in divine timing, I know a lot of people are like, I'm sick of divine timing, but divine timing may be sick of us. And I'm only saying that because this free will energy, our guides cannot come in between. They definitely will send us signs. They definitely want this person in the Eight of Swords to realize that. It's almost like they sent the higher self to the earthly being to wake them up. This may even talk about energy of collaboration with two empresses. Like, this could be a powerhouse, like not just in love, but also in money. And, whatever the empress is doing, the empress usually loves what she's doing. Now, think about that tenfold. It's interesting because I do feel like this is an opportunity for some to collaborate with each other. And I feel like this collaboration brings a lot of good things your way. But here's the thing, we also saw the Ten of Cups. So it's not just about the money, it's about the love. And it's kind of beautiful because I'm feeling abundant within your money, but abundant within love also. So the Eight of Swords are really the only thing that seems to be coming between what wants to be and what will be. That is free will. Somebody is ready, and someone is getting ready, and neither may know what they're ready for. And maybe they don't even have to. All right, so I want to ask a question where my cards go. Okay, so when this comes together, so this person breaks themselves free. I'm talking to our guys. This person breaks themselves free. How will this connection come together? How will it come together? How will they know? Well, I already know you'll know through the energy. The magician. Two magicians now. Manifesting it. Wow. What started as subconscious thoughts, I feel are now conscious thoughts. All right, tell me more. Jeez, okay. Got a lot, but that's a pretty important question. We have the Two of Swords, potentially a block. But the one thing I want to say is we've gone down from the Eight of Swords to the Two of Swords. I feel like the Two of Swords is natural. Like, let's not beat ourselves up. It's natural to have some fear, especially if you've dealt with a lot. But Judgment is like blowing his trumpet right at the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords can talk about something that I'm afraid to look at. So I put a blindfold on. But that doesn't make the issue go away. It probably just gets worse behind the scenes. Two of Swords, what Judgment wants you to do is take off that blindfold. Face whatever needs to be faced. so that you can manifest. But I kind of feel like I'm talking more to the other person. All right, look at that. 8 of Swords, 7 of Swords, my swords, the Chariot, the 4 of Cups. That makes sense. And look at this, the Ace of Wands. Okay, well, number one, I feel like this is telling us why this person is really having a difficult time. Let's just say opening their heart, like truly opening their heart. I definitely felt like they've dealt with untrustworthy energy, and they have no interest in repeating that again. But that's not you. You know what I mean? Like, that's not you. And even when this person was, let's say, in this dark energy, I feel like they still kept like an eye to the sky. You know, they still kept, like, there was still this little flame. This could certainly be the energy of like past relationships. And although I've loved, maybe I've never truly felt completely fulfilled. Well, this is different. This is energy where I feel like you will feel fulfilled. But now I mean, I already got it, but it's like showing us like this energy. It was not easy to overcome. And, once you're cheated on, it is hard to then believe that the next person won't cheat on you. But that's why we want to take it day by day, moment by moment. I don't feel like that's going to happen at all, at all. But I could see thinking that. But look at this, Ace of Wands, passion ignited. It's answering the 4 of Cups is, well, I don't know if you call it a question, but remember discontentment, boredom. Here's a great image that I was talking about. And look at this. Here comes that cup. Here comes that cup. Here's your heart chakra being activated. Both heart chakras being activated. This is go time. And the Chariot right before that. Unlimited potential. But what does the Chariot need to really become unlimited potential? Balance of the feminine and the masculine, the light and the shadow. You add the 3 of Wands, that optimistic energy. You add the energy of the Fool, the risk taker, someone who's willing to take a leap of faith, and you put that with the Chariot. Wow. I'm telling you, there's nothing you need to control. This just will flow. As long as you're focusing on it. And you can focus on more than one thing. You can focus on your money and love. But, you know, you want to give each its time. I definitely feel like this is just saying the potential and judgment coming out. This is sooner versus later. So for some of you, it literally feels like it's right around the corner. And I feel like judgment just wants you to understand what they were dealing with. And I'm sure you've dealt with this energy also in your past. Okay. All right. I don't want to make these too long. Um, trying to think. All right. So there's our emperor. All right. So all I said was so, but I'm just going to leave this open and then we're going to let it be. Look at that. The 10 of Pentacles. So we have the 10 of Cups right there. We have the 9 of Pentacles, singular. 10 of Pentacles, coupled. Remember how I said that I felt like there was ability for two to really, let's just say, put their minds together? Like, I do feel like some of you will be working together. But if nothing else, it's telling you that both soulmates can take care of themselves financially. Speaking of soulmates. Page of Swords. And then the Emperor. That is interesting. And then let's see what we have down here. The King of Cups. The 8 of Pentacles. The 9 of Wands. The 3 of Wands made its way onto the table. And then interesting, the 5 of Cups. Tell you what, that's interesting. Because past lives, even present lives, it feels like, well, let's just look at it this way. In the 5 of Cups, it's about what I'm focusing on. And in the 5 of Cups, I'm focusing on the cups that have been knocked over. Right? This can be a state of sadness. If you really, I don't know if you're trying to understand in that energy. But this is about letting go of the past. Because look what's behind it. 2 cups. It's a 5. Wants change. And it may simply be because I feel like for some of you, it's the two of you missing each other, but I don't feel like you know that yet. It's interesting. There's the soulmates. There's the soulmates. So change is what ushers in the soulmates. Optimism. And I love that the Emperor just came out. Not that we needed him, but there is the counterpart to the Empress. So what I was thinking in my head is like, how is this coming together? And I feel like with the Page of Swords, which is really the connection, the communication connection. Some of you could do something very similar as it relates to your money also. And I feel like this person, given the time, and hopefully they have already had that time, I feel like they're also looking at their lives differently. So before, I feel like I was looking at it with a very limited lens. And now I have a wide angle lens. Now I can look back and understand. And I already felt that with you. Like learning, like I understand that like the situations were really there to teach me. If we think about a soul's journey, it's about the adventures we're going to have. It's about the lessons we're going to learn in this lifetime. It is about love. It's about whatever you want it to be about. But I do feel like these soulmates feel like they may have been predestined. But again, I can't make one do what they need to do, but I feel like they do. And what I mean is just like, let's just say free themselves, but I feel like they do. And I feel like it's soon. I feel like it's soon. I just want to take one above. All right, so we have the Five of Pentacles. I just wanted to look a little closer at that age. And then we have, interesting, the Five of Pentacles to the Six of Pentacles. Well, the Five of Pentacles hadn't talked about something that happened outside of our control. But really, in the Five of Pentacles, what I feel is that it is moving you closer and closer to your soulmate tribe. Not just a soulmate love, but soulmate people. You know, people who are I don't want to say like, well, they definitely have the same interest, but they don't have to be exactly the same. Six of Pentacles talks about empathy and compassion. Well, both the Emperor and the Empress have that. You know, Six of Pentacles talks about that fine art of give and take. And the willingness, right, to not only give, but to receive is just as important. You know, there's no doubt that your soulmate is on the horizon. No doubt. And I love that it's not only showing you love, but it's showing the potential of, let's just say, the abundance. Like, this isn't just about love. This is about two people who can make a really good life together. And it doesn't matter your age. You know what I mean? Like I just turned 65. You know, the love of my life didn't come until my late 50s. But I don't regret, you know, what was before. Well, I mean, in my early years, I may, but I learned. So, anyways, I feel like this is that the equalness that it's been looking for, right? The ability to receive love and to give love. Okay, I think I'm gonna let that be. Um, oh, I do want to bring out the romance angels. Even though we see the soulmates, what, twice now? Really, more than twice, because even the Five of Cups um, speaks about a soulmate that's after this change, and it literally showed up right behind it. So that was perfect. All right, romance angels. Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. Well, that kind of reminds me of the Ace of Wands. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. Chemistry. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. You know, I feel like this is a clue. Like you'll feel that chemistry. Boy, I get this sense of when I say chemistry, I mean chemistry. Like I feel the chemistry in all ways. And it feels good. It feels right. And then look at that wedding. Well, we already saw the marriage card. This situation involves marriage. Now, let's say you're someone who has no interest in getting married again, because a lot of us don't. This is talking about a true connection. This is exactly what I would look for, right? This is someone who, these are two people who are, I don't want to say giving their lives to each other. Let's just say are making a commitment of living their lives together. Like, this is good. This is good. All right, guys, I'm going to let that be, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Doesn't want to end.